Hey y'all, Venture Brad here. So we got the new Raymarine ST1000 Autopilot, and that's my anchor plug. We got this connector, some brass pins, some screws, and some instructions to follow. Per the instructions that start in reverse with the installation on page 32, with all the operating stuff before that, which I guess kind of makes sense. But yeah, so we got this going, and we need to do all these measurements. Now the first measurement is from the rudder stock up. The center of that needs to be 18 inches forward, and then at a right angle to that over, it needs to be 23.2, which is the mid stroke of the travel between this pin that floats and this pin here that is this ding danger. So we have to mount in this side, this boss down into the gunnel, and then this pin, the little wobbly to it, fits in there. So these are kind of just rough measurements. I'm actually going to tie the block off to Tim's boat, or the rudder off, so the rudder's exactly where I need it to be, square in the hole. And then I'm going to redo all my measurements here and get exactly 18 forward and my 23.2 over at a right angle. And this is going to roughly sit in here like this. And this will come over, and this needs to be level, so this will be right about here, and that's going to need to drop, 2 inches or so. So that's where GoGo Gadget 3D printer is probably going to come into play, and some long bolts. They sell a bracket that leverages out, that's steel. One, it's really ugly, and two, it's like 60 bucks. Like, come on, Raymarine, this thing's $500. You got your money on this. Why do you need to, most people are going to spend another $100, $150 in extensions here and brackets, and they include such bare minimum stuff. I understand it's universal, but don't nickel and dime in all the accessories. So anyways, especially when they're not that special. It's a 1/4 inch piece of metal. It's bent. It's ugly. So I'd rather have a 3D printed piece, and I'll through bolt it, make it all dim dandy. So anyways, so in this side, this cleat's block only ends about like right here. So I'm going to need to cut out a block that's going to fit up in the holes. My foam starts right about here, but I'll cut out a block of plywood, fit up in the hole, glue it in place, and then I'll drill down all through all of this. Skippity. All right, so I kind of marked this up kind of right on the edge here. So I might cheat this over just to taste, see how good I can get the wood to fit up into this corner, but I'll probably bring this over a little bit. And I got everything squared up on the boat here. That's my shim stock. And I actually went and powered this up with a battery. These connections are small and funky. For something that's supposed to have a 12 amp fuse. Man. Anyways, I ran the thing out. I kind of wish that they shipped it at the 23.2 already, so you don't have to, you turn it up, you leave it in standby, which means the C's flashing, and then if it's on the right side, this retracts it, this extends it, this side positive, because you're going to go, if you're here, it's going to make the tiller go this way, which like right now we're pointed east, and if you wanted to, makes sense if you wanted to add to your heading, say you wanted to go from 90 to 110, you'd want to hit this 3 times, and that would just pop you over to 110 by extending the ram out. But yeah, that's kind of off the subject right now anyways, but it also makes it real simple, and that's why they suggest you mount this on the right side. You could mount it on the left side, but you have to switch in the programming the direction it goes, and then obviously these buttons are not going to do, they'll be opposite in reality, at least according to your compass heading. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to start fitting my block into here, try to get as big as I possibly can. Now that I got my measurements all verified, it's this edge here, and then once you get that glued in, I'll start gluing a block and everything. this really doesn't go down in the shaft that much. That's what this tape is for, is the top of this bushing. So this will actually sit up fairly high, so I'm not going to be dropping it down. Realistically, I'm just going to be dropping it down just enough to clear my mount and get the head in and out. So it will be, that will keep this mount nice and tight, which will keep it good and strong. All right, I got this little piece trimmed out, and it fits right up in this notch right here, and lays in there about like that, and my hole's right there, and that's about as close as I can get it without whittling too much wood, but that still gets me in pretty good. And for some extra reassurance, I'm gonna wrap this little block in some fiberglass matting. Got my epoxy all laid out, so time to get sticky. All right, so here we go. I got some roving. I think we ought to start with cutting that up, getting a suitable piece here. I'll dig out, and I absolutely hate working with fiberglass, but 'tis be the devil. Sometimes you have to dance. Let me get this out here, and really, this is some heavy duty moving. So we're just gonna start with, I just need a piece that's a little bit longer than I want. I'm really just concerned with the two sides. So something about right here. And when we're doing all this, it really kind of helps to lay everything out, think through the process, you know, be kind of ready to just roll with it. That way you could just get it done, no screwing around. And this is I forget which speed this is. Oh yeah, this is slow, so that'll help. Oh no, wait, it's fast. I noticed it's slow over on here, so that's not going to go good in this heat because it's like 95 degrees. But oh well, we're only doing a small section, so I got this already. Just going to double check. All we're going to do is, like I said, we're just going to flip this, fold this as close to shape as possible right now without shorting myself, so I could avoid some sandage later. Right, I'll get all this madness out of the way. And then, because I haven't used my squirt guns in a bit, to give it a little squishy squish. Now this one pumps twice as much as that one, but I really should pull the sticker off because that'll screw somebody up, make them think that you got to pump it twice. This is all clean, so I'm going to put some resin, one full pump, and then hardener, one full pump. So wait, yeah, no, it's 2 times resin to 1 hardener, whatever it is. And then I'm going to take and foam, and hoping that 1 squish is enough for me, because that's what we're going with. Ding, 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 da dong, dong, dong. Stir that stuff up and nice and long. Now I'm kind of ready to make a mess. Now this shower curtain I got here is a trick from old Chris Ring that he taught me, and that's epoxy don't like to stick to it. So I'm all prepped with it, some clamps, and piece of wood to press this, because like I said, the 2 flat sides, primarily this top side, is what I'm worried about. So this is where we get messy. We just got to start soaking this in. I'm going to soak her out real good. Just keep soaking and soaking, so that wood, because the wood's going to absorb some. And then that way when I go to wrap my mat on, it's not sucking the epoxy out of the mat, because that's what you don't want to do. And I guess if I wanted to be right about this, I would put this in, let this go off, and then do my epoxy on top of it. But like I said, I'm just going to do this piece. And we're going to get excited with epoxy here. You just slather this thing on. And I know this is something that I really am not excited about, but I'm not going to go buy a $100 piece of marine ply. for a little corner like this, and there's no builders around that I could just go ask for a piece or shoot them a couple bucks for. So this is good old household grade exterior plywood. All right, I feel like we're pretty slathered on. Now, like that. Now I want to make sure I work glorious amounts of resin into this. And like I say, this is my prime side. It's taking a load. I'm really just trying to build this massive sandwich of epoxy and fiberglass and plywood. So she's this nice hard block that's not going to move, and my pivot's not going to give out. Because it will get some load, especially if you either hit something or the sudden wind shift, something happens with your sail and it tries to correct. Yeah, she might do some weird stuff. So yeah, I'm just going to try to get this. And there is a point when you will start messing with things too long. And I think I'm about there, so I'm going to just fatty slop. Fatty slop. Anything on this side. Let's try to get a whole bunch up onto my ace #1 side here. And this foam brush is a bad choice because as I'm doing this, I'm actually actively foaming my stuff. So there we go. We get this. I'm gonna lay this out. Nice flat section. Roll this over, press it. All down tight, especially this way, so it's into that corner real good. This. Trying hard not to touch threads with the epoxy. Right on the outside. And again, I'm not going on the outside beyond my material, because then I cause my pressing block, which probably should be thicker metal. That way I'm not distorting the center section here. It's not trying to arch or do anything weird. So there we go. Now I'm going to let this go off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this right here, because this is going to be my judge I could just play with and fiddle with and see what I end up with. So if you mix these glass microspheres, which you really don't want to breathe, in with your cup of applesauce epoxy, you get this wonderful putty mix. You just gotta take your time. Yeah. That's that, and then here's the drill gun. Okay. And I got a little pilot hole started in here, so we're just gonna put some goopity goop on here. So get it started before you run it in, so I get my finger out of the way.
Here. I see what you mean.
All right.
See, I don't feel something right there.
All right.
Let's see. Is it next to it, or?
Here, try it there. Good, good, good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good right there. We're doing good. Yeah. All right, so now I'm just wiping the extra goop around the edges all clean.
All right.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we'll just leave this alone for the evening.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. It's been over 24 hours now. Just put some tape on the hole to get ready for drilling it. And that's what the finished product looks like. You guys are actually seeing this before me, because I haven't even stuck the mirror or anything in here. I just figured it's going to be what it is. So yeah, time to get out a drill bit and make this bad boy fit in there. And doesn't matter if it's slightly loose, that won't be a bad thing, because that way it gives the epoxy something to actually get around it, so you don't get a dry joint. So you don't want this to be a press fit. That's a bad idea. And now that I think about it, I might just give it just a taste of those spheres, because they make the epoxy so much stronger. And more importantly than that, those spheres are cool because it gives it that ductile iron effect where if a crack does start internally, as soon as it hits one of those spheres, that's going to be a spot where it's going to want to stop because it spreads the surface area out. Just like drilling a hole at the end of a crack on sheet metal. Airplane tricks, y'all. All right, let's drill some holes. All right, time to start drilling. So I'm going to start with a nice little pilot hole. The trick here is getting this thing up and down as possible. Both this way, and anything in between. I'm just gonna just let her come right through. Now, according to the instructions Raymarine provides, they say step this thing out to 1/2 inch. I personally don't like that because the thing measures a couple foul under 1/2 inch. So, and like I said, I want epoxy around it. I don't want a dry fit, and I trust epoxy. So, we'll see how that goes. And if you guys are doing this and not trying to worry about audio quality like I am, just get your old shot vac. It's right down here. Stick it up in here. Just shot vac as you drill. But I'll drill all these out. And for this last pass, actually, the 1/2 inch bit, went over and sprayed the bit off. So brake clean. Make sure that all the oil's off. And just to avoid any cross contamination. I'd also recommend using your sharpest bits for this, so yeah, you minimize the risk of splintering or doing something weird with the gel coat. Don't press too hard, make sure you let it cut. All right, DOS moment of truth. She fits not too bad. Not too bad at all. I want something just slightly bigger. Now they said they wanted a drill it only 25 millimeters deep. I went a through hole here. I guess if your deck or whatever was super deep, you could always, you know, stop. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to hydraulic when I glued it in, meaning if you have a blind hole and you have liquid in it, you got to press it in. Sometimes it might just shoot the liquid out, but the epoxy being so thick, it might get stuck and not actually push through. So I rather have it open, and I'm gonna actually wipe a little epoxy down all the way past the bottom because my blockage is deeper than what this is, to make sure that the wood's all coated where I just drilled it out. And if you're really worried about that, when you're all done, you could mix up some more of that peanut butter style with the spheres in it and just goop that up on the bottom if you're worried about water intrusion for any reason. But this is a plug, it's brass, there's no reason why you should wear through it. So yeah, it's not, if I stick this rail in the water, I'm not going to get water in my boat because of this. If I do, things have really gone south. All right, here's a little look-ski for you guys. There's a hole down there, and you can kind of, I don't know how easy to see, but the difference between the darker white and then that thin creamy layer of white, that was that pudding we mixed up, and that took up that area. So really I just used the plywood to hold that up, and that's probably an 8 3/16 thick, but that's all a gap it would have filled. A normal epoxy would have just oozed out, and that's where that's awesome. But because it's uneven down there, it's rough fiberglass, so it's like, you know, even though I try to shape it the best I can't crawl under there, so that's what you get. But yeah, it chipped out a little bit, but I think we'll be all right. It's a hole. It's time to mix up some epoxy and shove the brassy thing in. All right, well, Raymarine was nice enough to provide a non-standard size 21 millimeter. I don't know if you guys have a 21 millimeter, but I don't. And that's a little bit bigger than 3/4, which is 19. So I just kind of gave that little whole hog. And these are 3/32 per the spec. It's actually a little bit bigger than 3/32, but it's not 1/8. But yeah, I drilled that out. And the other thing that I'm going to kind of gripe to them about is the numbers are really hard to see. 1's positive, 2's negative. For something that's kind of supposed to carry 12 amps, this is 14 gauge wires, which will definitely carry 12 amps. It just barely fits in there, but man, that's a little funky screw, guys. Like, I don't extend those just a little bit, but yeah, come on, like, even my smallest little screwdriver, it's a giant pain. So I'm gonna get after this. Let me put these in, make sure you've bottomed them out, like, as far as you possibly can. And get your eyeglass screwdriver. And sorry, my hand's in the way, but I'm fighting to tighten this thing up and not draw blood at the same time. It's just obnoxious. Put an Allen wrench in here, Raymarine. Come on, you guys, quit saving 2 cents. Put it connected it. It's normal. I'd solder it, but I'm afraid that it's going to put too much heat into the plug. Yep, skippity. Time to screw it in. Aw, man. Don't do like I just did. Alright, so I printed a new style mount because the horseshoe one I didn't like because that was going to be too hard. So we did this. This will go down here. Bamski, about like that. Actually here. So here's our front edge. And this is a drill guide, which is pretty much the original design with the arch shortened. And I'm just going to drill 1/4 inch pilot holes through here and then try to sneak through. And if I feel like I'm getting straight, try to just go right out the back here. And hopefully it come out the top and it's not all ugly looking. But yeah, we'll see how this works out. And then once this is all done, I'll end up pulling this off, drilling it bigger to like 3/8 or even 1/2 inch, filling the holes with that epoxy with the glass in it, and then re-drilling them through. That way it's properly bedded. But yeah, I've already drilled enough holes and done enough epoxy for the past couple days, so I'm kind of done playing with epoxy, and I want to go test this thing and see if it does circles or straights or what. So yeah. All right, there we go, moment of truth. Drop, did he drop? Oh, I just can't stop, look at that. Woo! She's nice and flat and level. Let's go up here. Put the autopilot on. Plug dug in. This little cap that Raymarine did. It's certainly hard to handle. Ooh, is she turned on? I got a C code, meaning compass heading a 77. Set a plus. Plus pushes the tiller away, which brings the rudder towards me, which causes the bow to go to the right, which increases compass heading. Pretty cool. I just click auto just for general. Huh. She's trimming the current course. Yeehaw. So there we go. There's a Raymarine tiller install. It's up to you if you want to do something like that. Your mileage may vary. I'm pretty confident in that. Make sure you brace this stuff up nice and solid. Again, I'm going to bed all this in 18 inches up square. 23.2 is a magical number. And till next time, y'all, happy sailing.